Welcome to the Kiwi Mana Day. Happy 2017 from us to you. This week we are talking about more thieving mongrels, getting ripped off in the UK and alienation of New Zealanders. Is my backyard big enough? And what's going on across the ditch? This is episode 101 of our beekeeping podcast.
Absolutely. Welcome, everyone. This is Gary, and that is Margaret.
Yeehaw!
And it's always important to start off the new year with a few thank yous, isn't it, Margaret?
Yeah, absolutely. And our thanks go out to
Rachel and Nick for their feedback and their Christmas donation.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. And Aaron for his donations. Got some reviewers that we want to say thanks to.
Lisa Morrissey.
She reviewed Doug Purdy's new book, The Bee Friendly Garden. And Doug Purdy is from Australia. And yeah, she's given us a really good review on it. So go and check out the product page on the books for The Bee Friendly Garden. And our other thanks go out to our blogger, Laura Bennett, who put out an article. And what was that one about, Gary? Just refresh my memory.
It was about how bees make honey. So we're getting some great guest bloggers. So if you want to be a guest blogger, check it out. Go onto our main page and look at blog, how to become a guest writer.
Yeah, that's the one, eh? And, of course, swarm catchers. We've got so many to mention, but please know our panic callers tell us how great you guys are, and thanks for doing such a great job. And we hope the bees you caught are thriving and healthy.
And beekeeping clubs. Also, we've got to mention those great guys, eh?
Yeah, there's so many to mention. Our thanks for helping the beekeepers across New Zealand. They tell us how helpful you are, and Kiwi Mana appreciate the information you share with us on what you guys are getting up to. It is a nice time to remind everyone that those who run the clubs are mostly volunteering their own time and energy. So a big shout out to all committees of these clubs on the Bee Club map on our website.
Absolutely. And to all of those who purchase our goods and in our beekeeping courses, to all of you who join the Kiwi Mana Buzz, to all of you who follow us on Facebook, the Twitters, Pinterest and iTunes.
And every other medium that Gary puts us on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all good, guys. And to those of you who have given us feedback by phone or, emails and visiting us, we appreciate it. So we know that your lives are busy, so we are sending out our sincere thanks and gratitude. And please know we appreciate everything you do to help us create the Kiwi Mana Buzz.
Absolutely. You guys are awesome.
Yay!
And special thanks this episode goes to Stuart from the Thinking Bee podcast. He's been supporting the Kiwi Mana Buzz for over 12 months on Patreon.
Wow, that's fantastic, Stuart. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. And if you go to our show notes at kiwi.bz/100, 101, you can see the link there to Stuart's very own beekeeping podcast.
Yeah, because we've gone past the speed of 100.
That's right. And if you value what we do, please consider supporting us on Patreon at kiwi.bz/banana. And that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's great, guys. And, it's finally really summer here in New Zealand, and we recorded this in January 2017, and we'd just like to just say a quiet little thank you to Suzanne for the dinner we had the other night, and yeah, that was great. Good company, and very appropriate.
You better be listening.
Yeah, you better be. And we feel very political at the moment, but we are restraining ourselves, for if we were to truly express ourselves, it would probably create quite a ruckus.
Oh, never.
But on a lighter note, we are celebrating our anniversary days here in New Zealand across the country, and the weather has been stunning, and the bees are loving it.
Absolutely. And just a quick introduction. I'm Gary, and that's Margaret.
Hi, guys.
And we are beekeepers from the hills of the Waitaki Ranges in West Auckland. And our podcast is about gardening, beekeeping, and also political stuff. But not so much today.
Not so much today. We're just enjoying a bit of summer, so it's been great.
Yes, and the show notes for this show is kiwi.bz/101.
Yeah.
And big shout out to our listeners in Minnesota in the United States this month.
Hey, what's going on over in the States? A real state of affairs? Was someone having an affair? Was there affair in California? Whatever's going on, we hear it's amazing. And what's your interesting... What's your interesting...
Interesting fact.
Yeah.
Do you realise the stapler was invented in Spring Valley, US by Charles Henderson?
Oh, I used to grow up in Henderson.
Different Henderson.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's his name, Dale, not where he's from.
He must have been a very staple guy.
I wonder if he got staples in his fingers like we do. Probably not. But thanks for listening to the show, guys. Yeah. We appreciate you coming along this week, and we know life is busy. So we'll get on to what's happening at Kiwi Mana. It's hooting again. Happy New Year, was what I want to say. We've had restful and a busy time, and we've been missing talking to you guys, but we've been very busy in the background, planning and, scheming and building frames and talking to people. It's been very busy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been interesting, and this time of the year we're looking at what's got to happen so we can get everything ready for you guys, and we've had a bit of demand for things. So, but back to what you've been up to, Gary.
Well, I had some old boxes in the other old apiary, and a swarm moved into it, and they're doing really well. I inspected them the other day, and they got 3 boxes, about 19 frames of brood, so they're doing really well. So
19?
Yeah.
Jeez, so man, that's fantastic.
Yes
they're
indeed.
Going...
Banana!
That's right.
Banana!
Double banana.
Double banana, man. That's awesome.
We've got some congratulations this week to Chris and Laura from Britmana. Jasper has arrived. They had a proud baby boy who came.
Wonderful. A firstborn heir.
Yes, and there's a link there with Instagram photo of this cute little baby.
Awesome.
So congrats, guys, for thinking of you guys. It's awesome. And we also met up with Terry and Gary, cool name Gary, from Half Moon Honey in California. They came over to New Zealand for a holiday, and they met up and we had dinner together and we ate ice cream.
We ate ice cream on the beach as the sun was going down. And wasn't it a beautiful evening?
It was stunning.
It was stunning, and there was heaps of people around having a good time. It was just great. So thanks for taking time to meet with us, Terry and Gary. It was great. Thank you.
Absolutely. And there's a new beekeeping podcast on the interwebs.
What?
I know. It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's called Be Smart Beekeeping, and it's by Tony Sandoval, or known as Big Bear.
Big Bear. Okay, it sounds interesting.
Interesting. It's if you check out the show notes, it'll be on there, and you can subscribe or search for Be Smart Beekeeping. I'm sure you'll find them.
Okay.
And big congrats to Kevin from New Jersey.
He also likes to drive at the speed of 100.
Yes, he does. He's reached a milestone of 100 podcasts.
Yay! Congratulations!
And he's actually got 102 now, I think.
Wow.
So great work, Kevin. It's good to see you're increasing your effort there. It's awesome.
Yeah, and always good to hear about the information that's going on over there as well.
Yep, absolutely. And what's happening with Margaret?
Oh, Margaret's been, really busy before Christmas, getting orders out and arranging pickups. In the Kiwi Mana HQ, our top bar's doing really well, and the last season queen is laying well. So, yeah, lots of nectar collection, so that's awesome. And our 7-frame experimental hive box colony are thriving. That's the last season queen too. And the 2 colonies that we installed at the education apiary, they're all this season's new queens, got their first Varroa treatment. Thanks, Gary, for doing that for me.
You're welcome.
It's awesome. And we just need to do 3 more, once a week over 3 weeks. And then after that, we'll monitor what the results are. But one of them did have a lot of Varroa presence in the drone, but I think I have mentioned that.
Did you see that message on Facebook from someone saying that we shouldn't put photos of us burning our bees?
Oh, yeah, I think that was sent. We don't want to. We are, the work that we do here at Kiwi Mana is about educating and getting people to understand the consequences, as well as, you know, the fun and the joy that we have of the bees. There's a reality to keeping bees here in New Zealand that if you get American foul brood, you have to burn your hives. So it's a real reality check, and you know, we're sorry if you were upset by that. You could just imagine how it was for us who have been loving those colonies. So, yeah.
Oh, no, he was referring to the using oxalic acid.
Oh.
But you don't burn the bees using that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Tangent.
I went off in a tangent. I didn't even know.
But I agree. Burning bees because they have AFB is devastating, and it's terrible to do. But this was using an oxalic acid vaporizer.
Oh, you should have been a bit clearer. I thought you meant the photos that we posted when we had to burn those hives with the AFB.
This is the photos from the education apiary when I did the treatments over the weekend.
So, unfortunately, we don't really have a choice. We have to do something, and that treatment, the research we've read shows that it's the best one, and plus our experience with it over 4 years now. Is it 4 years, eh?
Yeah.
Shows that this is one of the best treatments ever, and you can use it any time of the year. So we make no apologies for that. And sometimes we humans place our values onto other things, and just rest assured that the bees don't have the same kind of respiratory system that us humans have. So they won't be having the same issues that if we were inside the hive and you fumigated us.
Absolutely. And no bees were harmed, but a lot of varroa mites were.
Yeah, we that's what we're aiming for. So, you know, that's the way we do it, and the bees thrive. And we have one apiary where one of our beginners only uses it, and she's had about 14 very healthy colonies that have built up this year. So, and that's from only 5, I think. So they're doing really, really well, and the research shows that there's a lot more brood in the spring. So we'll continue to use it.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's a new one. I haven't heard that one before.
It's a new one. Blog recap. Top 3 blogs post last month.
Forgot to say that after we do the treatment and we finish the course of 4 weeks, that we'll do a monitor of the results after.
Oh, absolutely.
For the 10 days. So we give them a break for 10 days, and I do a natural mite fall and see what results we end up with.
Absolutely. Top 3 blog posts. Number 1, Beekeeping 357 with Joe Lewis. That was a great podcast, wasn't it?
Indeed it was.
And coming in at second place, Rocking and Rolling at the Speed of 100. That was our 100th show. Thanks everyone for listening. That's awesome.
Yeah, we enjoyed that one, and we enjoyed it probably because you guys were so blimmin' good, and we've got a bit more feedback on that coming up.
Yes, and number 3, Getting Your Bees Ready for Winter, Spring Inspections.
What one was that?
That was the one that you did. That one with the at the school apiary, remember? And Lisa Allen's given you some feedback. She sent an email saying that was great, and she really got heaps of value out of that. So we shall be replying back to you soon, Lisa.
Yeah, that took a lot of work, that one, and a lot of photos and everything, and putting it together. So I'm glad that it was appreciated, and thanks, guys. That's awesome.
And we got some feedback about episode 100. We were so thrilled. We got all recorded messages through SpeakPipe and other sources. It's so good that you guys joined the Kiwi Mana Buzz to make that episode the greatest one ever.
Yeah, thanks for being part of the Kiwi Mana Buzz.
And first of all, we got a message from Charles Peter. What did he say? Yeah, he says, congratulations on achieving this great milestone. I've checked almost all your podcasts. I am more than impressed through your approach of looking. It shows your visualization, important attempts to take in. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, Charles. That's great. Yeah, I think observation of a hive is a really good idea. And I think that we do try to make things real for what we're doing as well and tell you about what we're experiencing. Cheers for that, Charles. That's great.
Absolutely. And our friend Herschel.
Hi, Herschel.
He says, thanks to my Kiwi friends for the birthday wishes. You're welcome. Love the show, and you both keep getting better with every episode.
Thank
Hope all
you.
is, thank you. I don't know
High
if it's
praise
true, but
indeed.
I take it anyway. Hope all is well, and looking forward to the next 100.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, we're one. We've started with one, so it's good.
So here's the first one, Herschel. Thank you.
And we also got a message from True Nature Ductation.
Nature education. True nature education.
Oh, I read that wrong. Sorry, guys.
Very simple, straight to the point. He says, or they say, this is definitely first rated. Woohoo!
Oh, cool. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
And we got a message from Mead Maker Tyson. Remember we were questioning where they were from. And Mead Maker is in Maryland in the US. And Tyson, Mead Drinker, is in Virginia.
Okay.
There you go. If everyone's looking for them, that's where they are.
Yeah. Check them out, guys. It's all good.
Check out the Mead Maker podcast for all your mead making tips.
That's it. And no pressure going forward, eh, Gary?
No. Another 100 shows. We'll do it. It'll take us 4 years.
No, it's only 99 now.
Oh, yes.
Once we get this one on the road, we'll be driving down that road at 102, 3, 4.
Absolutely. And we've got some feedback on getting your bees ready for winter. And Zelda Wynn says, loved all the images showing the egg stages and the bees, especially the Italian queen.
Yeah, she looked pretty cool. Oh. Is this the article that we talked about earlier, getting your bees ready for winter? Is that the same one?
Same one.
Wow.
You're making impacts with your blog posts there, Dale.
Oh, that's good. We, in reference to that, the latest is that we've got two working colonies, fully working colonies, and we've got about 3 boxes of honey, and we're just waiting for them to actually seal the capping so that we can start extraction. So next week I'll be going there to have a look. So I'll keep you posted, guys. And thanks again, Zelda. It's awesome.
Beekeeping news you can use. First one, Stung again.
This one was reported at the beginning of December, just before Christmas. So, what a bunch of...
More thieving mongrels on the east coast of New Zealand.
That's it, guys. Just incredible. Okay, well, here's a quote from the article. Thieves have struck again at another East Coast beekeeping operation. The small-scale beekeepers lost 15 hives. Sorry, guys, that's my mistake. 15 hives from a paddock on the Tuparoa
Road near
Tuparoa Road near Ruatoria sometime in the past 2 to 3 weeks. That's near the Bay of Plenty in New Zealand. And geez, those mongrels. Oh.
Yeah, that's shocking because those guys have had other hives stolen too.
And they're not like a big, huge conglomerate. They're just people trying to get along, People just trying to get some money so they can, feed their children and clothe them and.
Exactly. Come on, guys, look out for each other. And we got some great feedback from Kelly Snowden.
I'm still reeling at that. I mean, it's happening too much, It's not cheap setting up colonies, is it?
No. Kelly Snowden says, what is wrong with people? we've had 30 set fire to this season. It's beyond disgusting what people out there will do. They've set fire to the beehives.
Oh, that's just flaming
Kelly,
bloody
that
awful.
Is terrible. Sorry to hear that. And Gabrielle Henry says, I hope they find them. Unfortunately, there are low-life people out there. Thumbs down.
There are low-lives out there. And, you know,
And what does Craig say? Craig Lovell, what does he say?
he says, hope to see the thieves hanging by the hocks sometimes. I mean, sometimes you think, you know, is that what we need in the world today, to actually revert back to that kind of thing? I'm thinking about that one.
And the next one is because of this feedback's from Facebook, on our Kiwi Mana Facebook page.
And this one's from Don Sim.
Why do people do the like button? Yeah, I don't know. Because you can't, there's an option now. You can actually go sad face or angry or whatever. Now, you don't
I'm
need
glad
to like
they've done that, so we can all do the
we can all be angry.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I'm flaming angry.
Next story. Let's move it right along.
Okay, the honey flow is on. Well, this one came out
In November.
back in November, and this is from Karen, a new blog from Vitamin Bee, and it proved very popular with you guys. It talks of when the manuka was flowering big time, and it's all over now for the manuka. It explains how to tell when a honey flow has started, and what's that part from the article?
The quote says, why timing your bee build-up is so important. If they build up too slowly, then once the nectar starts, there will not be enough bees to maximise nectar collection and honey production, and the beekeeper will miss the honey flow and have a poor harvest, which is happening around New Zealand at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the manuka flowered early as October this year in Auckland on the North Shore, and up in Northland by November we heard it was mostly over. So we've had quite a different response to the weather over this, you know, coming into summer and everything. So it's not been a great season for them, and it was a very wet spring for most of us up North Island.
Yeah, a lot of people are having real trouble actually even breaking even down the south, aren't they? Because they're not getting any honey flow at all.
Yeah, no, it's tough.
The Pohutukawa didn't really flower that long. The Kanuka didn't last very long either, did it? Less than the Manuka.
It flowered late, but it flowered a bit longer with the Pohutukawa. And we mentioned in the last newsletter that it was flowered longer, but now it was having a second flowering, eh?
Yes, that was funny, eh?
Yeah, and the bees are loving it. They're just like all over though. There's, you know, a few buds, eh? It's not the whole tree, but they are just loving it. You know, in beekeeping, it's all about timing. And the problem is that you need to identify how to manipulate the timing to best help you and your bees. So if you're not keeping an eye on what's going on with the weather, then you're not keeping up with them. If you're not keeping an eye on what your bees are up to, then you're going to miss out lots of opportunities, guys. So if you're going to take any advice, go and observe your bees and have a look at what they're getting up to.
Yep. A good beekeeper can anticipate what they're going to do next.
And what would be the sort of things that what would indicate what's happening inside a hive, Gary?
What do you mean?
Well, I've always watched the front entrance, and there's indicators of what the bees are doing. Like if you see a lot of aggressive behaviour and bees rolling around on top of each other, that means what?
Robbing.
Okay.
And if they're just coming in nice and not pollen on their legs, it's usually got nectar in their honey stomachs. And at the moment, it's quite a big flow on, eh?
They seem to be just packing in the nectar because it's just going crazy. And, you know, pollen is an indication that there is brood coming on and they're feeding them. So what other things?
Well, some people are saying that the honey's not been capped, eh?
Yeah, we're having that in some areas. So, yeah, we've had a few discussions about this, haven't we?
We have.
About what you can do. What can you do, Gary?
Just wait, I guess. I mean, I think it's because it's so humid. I don't know.
Yeah, it has been very humid here in Auckland, and I think the other thing is that people will give you advice on what you can do and what you shouldn't do, and Gary and I had a small theory that perhaps if they need to, you could put a sugar syrup feed up above, an internal sugar syrup feed, and see if they need it. If they use it, they'll feed on it. If they don't use it, then that's all good. But sometimes my understanding is that when you give them a sugar syrup feed, it helps them with wax production. But what was your view on that?
I think there's enough nectar out there at the moment. Well, especially around here. I don't know about the rest of the world, but around here they seems to be. I think they'll probably ignore it. But what you can do is if you get some sugar syrup and you just get a little drop of it and put it on the front of the hive, and if they ignore it, that usually means there's a massive flow on. But if they all go and surround it and eat it, that means there's usually a honey dearth on, isn't there?
Yeah, so, guys, as we know in beekeeping, there's so many different views and point of views and everything like that. So, yeah, I think you have to keep an eye out. The other thing that happened when I was out in the aviary the other day is that I was just minding my own business, and a bee came out of a hive, and I kid you not, she came straight for me. I mean, she was coming straight for me, guys, and I couldn't even get away, and she got me right on the side of my face.
She was angry.
And I pulled it out immediately, and my face didn't swell up, but I didn't want any Botox that day, so.
And even Snow got stung yesterday, our dog.
Yeah, so she had Botox in her side of her face. It looked quite cute, but
she had a big mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, so, I believe that it's because they're thirsty. And I've said to some other beekeepers who said the bees are a bit aggressive, and my advice, take it or leave it, was to fill a very fine mister spray bottle with just some water and just spray it at the front of the entrance very gently, not a lot, and just the bees will take that off the side of the hive and use that water, and it calms them down a bit.
Yeah, or set up some water feeders. That's another good idea.
Yeah, some water feeders. Or if you're working your bees, the old beekeepers used to use a towel, that was damp.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that, but I have heard that that's what some people do, and it calms them down.
I'm a minimalist beekeeper. I take as little as I can. But I did notice at the other apiary the other day, the quarantine apiary, that there was a puddle and there was a lot of bees drinking from it. So they're out there trying to find water.
Yeah, I had that the other day when there was just a little, Snow's on the hunt or something. She's just giving a bark here and there. So she's always vigilant, isn't she? Guarding us against the evils that may appear.
Yes, and we got some feedback from Marcus, who we actually met. He's from Germany, isn't he?
He sure is.
He said, lots of laughs, that picture shows Kanuka, or the botanics are wrong. Well, I actually think that picture in the article is Manuka. And because of the time they took it, there was no Kanuka flowering.
Yeah, I think it's true.
That's my observation of that. And also, Kanuka doesn't usually flower like that. It usually grows a bit bigger. So, looked like Manuka to me. What do you think?
Yeah, it was quite a big flower, eh?
Well, it was hard to tell because it was a picture of a plant.
They could have zoomed in on it or something to make it look big, but generally you've been doing some research on the Manuka. So compared to Manuka and Kanuka, is Manuka a bigger flower or a smaller flower?
Bigger flower. Kanuka is smaller, isn't it? Or was that the way around?
Oh, it's good that the research is paying off.
I'm still researching, but I've been trying to find some photos of Kanuka flowers, because all the Kanuka flowering around here is about 15 meters up in the air.
Yeah.
So it's hard to photograph the flowers, but I will get it for the article. But I think most of it's gone now, eh?
Yeah, the manuka's finished. I mean, the manuka has definitely finished. But we often get it with these articles, that they have an article. We've talked about this before, that when, they send a picture of they're talking about honeybee and they've got a bumblebee on the front or something.
Yeah, or a fly.
Or a wasp or whatever.
Oh, wasp. Hey,
crazy
I really hate
stuff.
That. Like a yellow jacket.
Yeah, they definitely blag their way through some of these articles, and that makes my blood boil. Okay, so what's the next article that we're talking about today, Gary?
Infectious bee disease found in the Katherine region in Australia, which is in the Northern Territory.
Oh, yeah, this is over the ditch, isn't it?
Over the ditch. It's south of Darwin. And the Northern Territory hasn't had European foul brood ever. Even though European foul brood was detected in Australia in the 1970s, the Northern Territory hasn't had it. So they suspect someone's moved some infected hives there or bought some old gear from somewhere, and they don't know how it arrived, and it's
in the town.
Shocking. And that's one of the reasons why we don't allow imports here, because we don't have that disease, do we?
No, we don't. And yes, this is an interesting article, and a quote from the article says, an infectious bee disease that can kill off whole hives has been found in a smaller number of hives in the Katherine region. So read this article, guys. It's a bit shocking, and we hope that it doesn't get any worse for you guys over there across the ditch.
Absolutely. If you're in the area, make sure you check your hives.
Don't move any hives, guys. Just keep them in your area and quarantine them, or, from if best you can. I think sometimes with beekeeping, there's so many new kids on the block that they don't always know what they're doing, or they're just overpopulating areas. So I hope that they get that one sorted out. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And we had some feedback from Zongzing. Is it? I'm not really good at reading Chinese names. Sorry, Zong.
Songzi.
He said, is there any EFB in New Zealand, and how to deal with EFB? The answer is no. So please don't ever bring honey in from other countries, everybody.
Yeah, and a good thing for Songzi is to go and have a look at the website afb.org.nz, and it talks about all the diseases that you need to be aware of, and there's lots of interesting stuff on that website. So have a look in there, and that will give you some more information about what you need to be aware of. And I think probably my advice is to get training, get yourself educated about diseases.
I mean, and it wouldn't be silly to learn what EFB looks like, so in case we ever did get it. And if you'd be the first one to find it.
Yeah, there is a good photo on there. Is that EFB? Assuming that the article is actually showing what they found.
Oh, in the article, yes, that is the EFB.
So it's a certified EFB photo, guys. So have a check of that article, and hope you never see that in yours.
Absolutely. Now we move on to an interesting story. Capilano and beekeeper Simon Mulvany are suing each other as a honey disputes turn sticky. This is a story from the ABC News in Australia. And Victorian apiarist Simon Mulvany has lodged a defamation claim against the honey packing company Capilano. Simon is a consumer advocate for better labelling laws in Australia.
Yeah, well, we're behind that because we want better labelling laws here in New Zealand too.
Absolutely, and the quote from this is, a Supreme Court battle between a beekeeper and Australia's largest honey producer, Capilano, over the safety and the sources of its products is becoming increasingly bitter, with both sides now suing each other.
Wow, that sounds pretty bad.
It is.
I think that's it's a bit of a warning to us, isn't it? Because weren't you talking about the labelling?
Yes, they're mislabelling things and saying that this allegedly, I will say, and they are apparently not labelling things correctly. So in Australia, you don't have to say where the food comes from. I think this doesn't only apply to honey. This applies to all food. You know, in New Zealand, when you look at bacon, it says may contain products from overseas.
Yeah, like local or imported products.
Yeah, that's what they have, the same thing.
And I think that from what you were saying, and the labels are also a bit obscure in the sense that they are saying as little as possible about what the honey is.
Absolutely. Well, let's give Simon a ring and ask him about this. Wait a minute.
Hello.
Hey, Simon.
Yes.
It's Gary here from New Zealand. How are you?
Oh, yeah, great, Gary. Yeah, good.
What's the story behind this defamation thing going on?
So I wrote a couple of articles about Capilano. Like I don't know if you've scrolled through my page, but it only probably makes up 5%. But Capilano 2 years ago was voted the most trusted company in Australia. No one knew that they were importing Chinese honey and to the extent of the Chinese honey they were importing. So I started to write articles about, and look, if you Google Capilano honey, you can see other journalists have attacked them, probably because I've had the social media presence. It has had more of an effect. I wrote one article about how imported honey could bring diseases in it, like foul brood, and I think that first one might have had 200,000 views or something, and lots of comments. And then I continued to sort of peck away at the company. And then it was a bit of a surprise. I just received a summons to appear in the Supreme Court. It was about 300 pages long. And I know several other people have been threatened with litigation from Capilano, and they all sort of folded because, they're scared of their assets being taken off them, whereas sort of money's not really my objective when it comes to bees. So I said I was happy to take them on. But they're suing me for, one is defamation to the CEO, Ben McKee, which is, in my understanding, talking to my legal team who are representing me pro bono, they're frivolous claims. It was all targeted to scare me and get me to, stop writing negative articles about what they're up to. Ultimately, what Australians are disgusted with is that a company they trusted is importing lots and lots of Chinese honey, relabelling it, not only selling it to us, but exporting it. I don't know what the laws are like in New Zealand, and I know you're stricter with your honey imports because you haven't got the diseases we have here, and you kick up a bit of a fuss, but it seems to be a free-for-all here, and you don't have to label your honeys with country of origin.
No, in New Zealand we don't allow any imported honey at all.
Wow. So if you guys want to find out a bit more about Simon, have a listen to this one, which is coming up very soon.
Yeah, we actually rang him up for a quick call, but it ended up being about 40 minutes.
Yeah,
so we'll release that as a podcast.
It's interesting to find out what that Capilano's up about, and we hear they're attached to some other people as well.
Yes, there's lots of things going on. So I think Simon's heart's in the right place. So have a look at his site, Save the Bees Australia, and we'll have a full podcast with him soon.
And just understanding that, it's frightening to get, these people coming to you and telling you that you can't say what you say. But, it's going through the system, so we just need to say that Kiwi Mana are just reporting the news, guys.
Absolutely, and speaking of reporting the news, this one makes me angry.
Oh,
Kiwi beekeepers.
Tell English honey producers you can't call it manuka.
Of course you can't.
Oh, those Brits, they leave our manuka alone. It's our native tree and grows in our soil. The term manuka is the Maori name for Leptospermum scarpiaca.
Leptospermum, yeah. It belongs to our people.
And I can feel a haka coming on. Kamate.
Exactly.
Kure.
And anyway, back to the facts. Tregoffin Estate in Cornwall is trying to steal an AIM manuka to sell their honey produced in England. Australia are also trying to do that, using the name instead of jellybush honey.
Yes, it's interesting.
Yes, I see Capilano is involved in that too. They're selling Australian manuka honey.
And Comvita, I hear, are part of all this party that's going on.
Well, we don't know exactly what extent they're involved, so we must investigate that further. Because we need to just find out first.
Or edit that out.
Yes. No, we don't edit anything out. And a
Okay,
quote from
guys.
this article.
Well, this is the article where I mention it, what we're discussing today is that it's New Zealand's getting ripped off, really, and that some other country who doesn't even speak the lingo is trying to alienate us Kiwis from,
They speak English in England, don't they? Well,
manuka?
no, it's not an English word.
Exactly. So, and that what they're going to try and do is alienate New Zealanders, and I'm really just
Yeah, because they're trying to actually copyright the name Manuka, the New Zealanders, so that's going to be good. But hopefully it doesn't only apply to the big companies. And
I think that's the concern, isn't it? So if you label your honey, as manuka, or you've had it tested for manuka, and then they blimmin' say to you, you can't do that because Britain have got it. So leave our blimmin' manuka honey alone.
Exactly. And this guy's in another planet anyway, because he's saying that he's gonna make his bees only get manuka honey and nothing else. He's gonna actually enclose his bees with insect mesh or something.
Okay, what's the quote on the article says an English country estate cashing in on the lucrative manuka honey market has been given a stinging riposte by Kiwi beekeepers who say, you can't call it manuka. So this article, you guys, get in there, read this article, and it's just not right. It isn't right.
It's not right. Absolutely. And Lyle Carnes from Utah says, good on ya. I think some of you beekeepers who know and produce the specific honey should sue to protect the name, and maybe it'll end Chinese honey with the same label. And Lyle is from Utah. He wants to specify. Yeah,
thanks, Lyle. I mean, thanks for that, because I think it is important for us to own what we're doing. Our scientists found out about this as well. So, this is something that we're very proud of, and it didn't just happen as a gift. We've been working like this for a long time to understand what manuka actually produces. And, I think it's just so wrong.
Yeah, I think so. And they're kind of riding on the backs of all the hard work that people like Peter Molin's done, and all the people from, Comvita and that, for promoting manuka around the world.
And I think in the bigger picture, this idea of stealing and deceiving and food coming into the countries, that's not from the country, is really wrong. And I think that he's on the right track, Simon, to encourage manufacturers of food and everything to label exactly what is in that food. And it's like palm oil, it's like GMO corn, everything like that should be labelled so the consumer can decide with an educated understanding of what they're buying. And if they choose not to buy it, then that's purely up to them. And that will indicate to these people that we do not support being deceived and being lied to, because that's what I think it is. I think it's deceitful and they're lying to us.
Yes, absolutely. And Jasmine Skinner says the French are the only ones who can call it champagne. I think that's what they're meaning. Jeez.
And we've got a response to that from Dave Spart. And he says calling it manuka is like us taking a grape or vine from France and calling the wine champagne. It's not champagne. I can't take water and barley and call it whiskey.
Absolutely. And then who else is it? And then David says, actually, he was quoting the article.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to say, actually you couldn't call it Scotch whiskey. Likewise, champagne is a geographical region and not a grape name. So the analogy is flawed. You can call it manuka, just not New Zealand manuka honey. Nah, I don't agree, Dave.
Nah, can't support that one.
Don't support that one.
I suppose if they could truly prove that it was leptospirosis.
Spearman. You need to read Cliff Van Eaton's book.
Oh, I know. My brain just can't get around that. But if it is the actual product and it's made from that actual thing and grown from that tree and the flowers are from that tree, then why can't they just label it if it's true? That's what is concerning. You know, if it is really that product, why don't they call it that? But manuka is actually the Maori name for it, so it's not right.
That's right, exactly. It's like growing kiwi fruit in other countries. Not allowed.
Yeah, they still call it kiwi fruit, don't they? Which, yeah, we always called them Chinese gooseberries when we were kids.
Yeah.
And that's what they were called.
It's true. It's
because
true.
they were
Absolutely.
Didn't they come from China originally?
No, they're from New Zealand, kiwi fruit.
Space, the final frontier.
Okay, the next article is from the great Hilary Cooney. How much space does a beehive need? She ponders, how much space do you need in your backyard to accommodate a bee colony? And what's the quote from this one?
She says, I often get this question from bee-curious people. It is the first hurdle of becoming a beekeeper. Can it work in my backyard? So Hilary goes on to talk about, you know, the space you need and for working the bees and then how much you need for the flight path. So it's an interesting article, guys. And, just remember this is in feet and inches, and not in centimetres.
Yeah, there's some good points here, about having a flight path, because you don't want the flight path to be across someone's footpath or on the footpath to the washing line or anything like that.
Yeah,
she's got some good points.
Yeah, there are things that you need to consider, and better to do it before you get the beehive there, as she says. So, yeah, have a look at this article, guys. It's a good one.
Absolutely. Okay, questions from you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. This first question is from Scarlett in New York, in the big old US of A.
New York City.
Okay, now what's happening here? She says, how to make a super beehive.
I can take this. I've been doing some research.
Take it away, Gary.
Well, you make a normal beehive with the four sides, and then you go to a $2 shop and get a Superman logo sticker and stick it on the side. So that makes it a super beehive. All
right, then moving on to the second question.
And there's a photo there of one that we made earlier. Did you see that photo? But I think she means a super, like a super as in superfluous for making honey, putting honey in. But they're made exactly the same as any other hive, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's
maybe.
Just, the bees choose to make something, use different uses for it.
I think there's different ways to interpret this question, because a super in most common discussions amongst beekeepers is about honey. And if you want to get lots of honey, then you need to put your bees in a place where there's lots of nectar and flowers and lots of varying foraging, and not near a monoculture.
Yes, this is true. This question could be read many ways.
Okay, and
but I choose to read it with the Superman sticker on the side.
Indeed, and yeah, if you're talking about super beehive, as in super healthy and strong and all that sort of things, well, my thoughts are give them their own honey. Some people over winter will give them some of their own honeycomb, which is slightly crushed in a feeder above the under the roof, should I say, and they feed off their own honey over winter. So that's another thing that could make it a super beehive. The other thing is to not take all the resources off it.
Yeah, no, I'm going with the Superman sticker.
Okay, moving along.
Okay, moving along. What happens to a swarm of bees in the wild? This is from Tara in Wellington, New Zealand. Well, Tara, it's sometimes good, sometimes not good. If a swarm will try and find a location, like in a hollow tree or on someone's roof, as we often hear about, or even I've even seen them hanging under a eave of a tree, like under a branch of a tree.
Yeah, that was a few years ago. We had a call from a landowner who said that the bees had settled near his pasture and underneath the canopy. And so we went and had a look, and boy, we did post some photos and stuff about that, and it was huge. You know, I'd swear it was about 2 foot long, or is that about 80 centimetres, something like that?
It was a huge natural comb.
Huge.
It had about probably 7 or 8 rows of comb.
Yeah, so that was really awesome to see. But then they called us after winter and basically it had passed on. But then during that summer, more bees moved in. So goodness knows what it's doing today. We haven't had any updates, but it's very tough for wild bees. And wild bees these days you're more likely a colony that has swarmed from a kept hive. So, yeah.
Yeah, but there's some good stories. I've seen them in trees and stuff, so sometimes it works. But more often they probably would perish, I'd say, Tara.
I'd say so too. And like we sometimes hear about a wild swarm moving into a barn or something like that,
Yeah, absolutely.
But even that, they don't always survive for a long period of time. Some do, some don't. So it's, luck of the draw. And I think if you've had a wild colony and it's been there for a few years, that would be the ideal type of colony to breed from.
Yeah, absolutely. They might have built up some tolerance for varroa,
Yeah, so that's a really good question, Tara, and thanks for sending that in. And yeah, you just don't know.
No, you don't.
Yeah, every area has its own challenges for the bees that are in the wild. So, yes.
The next question, which we're probably not the best people to answer, but anyway, we've been asked it. What is the most common beehive used in the UK? This is from Evelyn in Bradford in England. Hi, Evelyn.
A wooden one?
I would say, no, I think she wants a specific type.
Oh, you mean a type of beehive?
I would say it's a British national hive. It seems to be the predominant popular beehive in Europe and even in Ireland. The Langstroth isn't, and I think you'd probably be looking at a British national. But probably best to go and find your local bee club and talk to them and find someone that can help you with that. But we have an interview with Roger coming up from England. He probably can tell you more about that too.
Okay, well that's a good question, Evelyn, and you're from Bradford over in the UK. And
yes.
It's
winter there, isn't it?
It's a good question because in New Zealand here we use top bars, we use Langstroth.
Yeah.
And modified Langstroth's like a long bench hive, which is, yeah. And at the moment, as I said earlier, I'm doing an experiment with a 7-frame colony, seeing how that works. And, looking forward to seeing how they cope over winter. So it's all good, guys, but that Superman idea,
Okay, let's move on to random review. This is where we have a small thank you. We read out a random review from our products from the last month.
Oh, I've just gone off on a tangent and I said most of the girls in the hive will be very annoyed with that Superman because they'd rather have Wonder Woman on there.
What about Supergirl? Because doesn't she use the same symbol? So you could say Supergirl, I don't mind.
Wonder Woman.
It's not Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
The question was how to make a super hive.
Oh, okay.
Random review. This is a small thank you, and we read a random review every month. And the winner will receive a $30 Kiwi Mana gift certificate. You must get in touch within 2 weeks. If you don't, we go out for a cup of coffee. And we spend that $30 and eat cakes and enjoy ourselves.
Oh, yeah, we love to have our cake and eat it too.
We haven't had a cake for a while, so hopefully no one will ring up. No, I'm just kidding.
Indeed.
We hope you do. Anyway,
Okay, guys, let's do it.
let's do it.
The winning number is
18.
Okay, number 18 is the winner. Who was number 18?
18. Wow, you'll have to tell me, Gary, because you're the man who knows
Well,
it.
number 18, they bought a ventilated beekeeping suit, and her name is Leonie. What a great suit. Love the first one, and I ordered a second one. Highly recommend.
I know Leonie. She's from Oz, isn't she?
She's from Western Australia.
Ah, yeah. She'll be really thrilled. I hope she's listening.
Absolutely.
Are you listening, Leonie?
She is. I just heard her all the way from Western Australia. Highly recommended. Something I have done is unpick the additional pockets to create more airflow. Oh, that's an interesting idea.
That's a good idea.
As I wear a belt to hold tools. Great for Western Australia, northwest heat.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty hot over there at the moment. I hope you're staying out of the heat.
Yeah, hydrate yourself and the bees, guys, over there.
But it's hard to do when you're in Australia, isn't it?
It is. It's very tough over there, and we're sort of in between that, aren't we? We're happy to get some rain to fill our tank again.
Yeah, it's been great weather, isn't it, lately?
Oh, we've just had a really good spell for the girls to really get stuck in, and yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely.
Been awesome.
And you need to claim your prize from 2 weeks from this release of the show, and that'll probably be the 15th of February. Feedback from you. First one, Patreon. We had a new patron, Matthew Taylor, all the way from Maryland. Thanks heaps, Matthew. It's awesome.
Yeah, and what does Matthew have to say?
He doesn't say anything. He's just a new patron.
Oh,
He hasn't been in touch yet.
What's the feedback?
Feedback from me. This is regarding Patreon. We on Patreon we have goals.
Yes.
That once we reach the goal, we work on other goals. So we're trying to. Our first goal we reached was, I think it was to have 2 podcasts a month, which we've reached that goal now. So the next one, I'm thinking, Margaret.
Okay, just wait. Watch this, guys. Watch out.
Do you guys think it would be better for us to have transcriptions for our interview podcasts, or work on a smartphone app which would make it easier for non-techie people to listen to the show? This would work on iOS and Android. And if you've got some opinion of that, can you please go to kiwi.bz/survey 101. That's numbers 101, survey, SURVER 101, and just click the survey to tell us what would you rather was working on.
When you say 101, you mean 101.
101, same as the show notes.
Excellent.
And feedback from you, iTunes review. This is from Chrome Viking in Canada.
Oh, we love Vikings.
And he says, kia ora. Kia ora to you. Kia ora is a greeting in Maori, in the Māori.
In the Māori language in New Zealand, and we're loving to hear that coming back to us.
Absolutely. And Chrome Viking says he's a new beekeeper. He's hailing from the Great White North in Alberta. Cool.
Awesome podcast, chocked full of all sorts of wonderful information, advice and insight. Started with the first and working my way through them all. Well worth the listen, both entertaining and informative. And that was in January. That's awesome.
I wonder if he's listened to them all yet.
Yeah, we hope that we do give some information, and I think that'd be tough for you guys out there because it'd be pretty cold at the moment, eh? So you'll be hoping that the bears aren't attacking your hives and that kind of things over there.
Oh, yeah.
We've heard about that in the past, and no one from over there has really kept us up to date with what's going on. So,
well, maybe Chrome Viking can drop us an email.
Yeah, let us know how he's going over there and how his girls are surviving and what they do over winter for their girls. Be interesting.
Absolutely.
Get it? Be interesting.
Yes, I get the bee reference.
It's not the first time.
You should be a stand-up comedian, Margaret.
I'm sitting down. It wouldn't work.
No, it wouldn't. Okay, if you want to leave a review on iTunes, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
And it's kiwi.bz/iTunes, and you can leave a review or go onto the iTunes app on your iPad or if you want got one of those fancy iPhone things, you can do it on the app, I think.
Fancy schmancy.
We ain't got that, have we?
No, we're not that fancy.
Well, thanks for joining us, guys. This is awesome that you've come along today, and we appreciate it. And we will be back in a couple of weeks with an interview with Simon.
Yeah, and we also have a bit of advice.
What's your advice?
If you're in New Zealand, please monitor your mite levels because the foraging is going on. And if other people haven't done their treatments, then you may be vulnerable to getting varroa. Okay, guys, because we're coming up to autumn and you want your girls to get into autumn low levels of varroa. In actual fact, you don't want any at all, but unless you monitor, you won't catch it. Last year, we got a bit caught out, didn't we?
Yes, we did. So, keep monitoring, keep checking.
Yeah, check levels for your, sugar shake, which you take the 300 bees and do that. Gary's got a video on that. And then there's like the natural mite fall using sticky boards or inspection boards. Make sure that you oil them so you capture the true reflection of what's going on in the hive. It's also a time where you can see if you've got wax moth issues and robbing, that kind of thing. So guys, please manage your hives really well coming into the end of summer.
Absolutely. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya!